Top 5 reasons on why your clothing brand is failing, or you failed, or you gave up on it.
I give up.
And make sure you stay to the end because number 5 is crucial.
Hand to God.
What is up? My name is Rich. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I made primarily most of my income selling generic style t-shirt designs such as birthday t-shirts, Mother's Days, Christmas t-shirts, primarily a whole bunch of different types of style t-shirts on Etsy and Amazon. Then I also got into the clothing brand space and I did pretty decent in that area as well. Now, here are some top reasons on why your clothing brand may not be working out for you. Number 1, you did not make any content or you're scared to make content. We live in a new digital age now where video is becoming more and more of a thing. I've seen a lot of y'all's brands and sometimes you guys are just posting pictures and just mock-ups. When it comes to clothing brands, especially online, video is really strong because it gives the customer an extra layer of trust. They have a face that they can put to the product, and this adds a lot more transparency. They can actually see the product. It's easier to see what the print looks like, especially if you have something different and unique, such as a PVC patch or an embroidered patch, some puff print, even some brick print. You know, it's hard to see that texture within just a photo, but whenever you are using a video, this just adds an extra layer. And it's also an extra layer of trust just because some pictures are very easy to mock up nowadays, and video is still a little bit more difficult even with all this AI stuff around. Number 2, you didn't get into anyone's face. And what I mean by that is that a lot of you all are so consumed with this whole online thing that you guys forget to get into the real world. Do some vending, some pop-up shops, some trade shows, and so on. Or even go give out some t-shirts for free. You gotta get feedback in person. You gotta see what the customer may or may not like about your product or your brand or your message. And this also gets you a lot more comfortable in the real world, accepting the fact that there might be some flaws in your brand. But this allows you some things to work on because whenever you are person to person, face to face, it's easier to do business in that way. It's a lot easier for a customer to tell you, or a potential customer tell you what they may not like about it and why they would buy from you in the future. Now, when it comes to online, we might be able to get in people's faces, but sometimes we don't really hear anything back. So you got to get out there. You got to make sure your product gets in people's faces so that you can receive feedback.
Nothing wrong with having some room for improvement.
Feedback is really important, and it's also easier to sell someone in person than it is online. It's easier to see that conversion in person because they might not trust your website to begin with. They might not feel the product. They might want to try on the product and so on. There's so many various reasons that is eliminated whenever you are in person. The person can feel the t-shirt, see if it's a quality that they like, see how well the print looks, see what the brand actually means, and they can trust the transaction. They know that they're getting their product. When it comes to online, sometimes they might not trust your website. You are not Amazon, you are not Etsy. You are a brand new website. You gotta warm up some visitors so that they will trust you online in the future. Number 3, you are afraid to invest and take a loss. A lot of you guys may not be afraid to invest, but some of you guys are afraid of taking risks. You don't know how many thousands of times I've ordered blanks, not knowing if it's going to be a product that I liked or going to use and actually print on. Sometimes you guys are like, oh, can you make a video review on this blank and this blank and this blank? Man, sometimes you just gotta go out there and do it yourself and see what the product actually feels like. Same things when it comes to prints. You know, there might be like a new different type of print out there, specialty ink, metallic. You don't know how it's gonna look on a t-shirt, but you gotta go out there and get that sample. Some of you guys are so afraid to get a sample or even go out there and do some product research. You know, that's one other thing that's going to cost you money that you will never see back. Product research is really important in this game. A lot of you guys may think that you know what your customer wants just because you think it's cool. Just because you think it's cool does not mean your audience thinks it's cool as well. You got to really go out there, and just a reminder, this is a tax write-off. You can go to Nike, buy some products, and write this off as product research. This is a part of research and development for your brand. You got to go out there and take some risk and buy things. And I'm not just talking about buying products for research or samples itself, even going out there and do pop-up shops and you don't even know how much it may be even worth. Like say if you are going to vend at an event and it's going to cost you $500, you really don't know how much you are getting in return. You can ask questions like how much traffic is here on the regular, how many people are attending the show and whatnot, but this is a risk and you won't really know the result until you actually give give it a try. This is an investment, but it could be a loss. It's all a part of the game in order for you to grow your brand. At the end of the day, when it comes to clothing brands, it's not always about the money. Yeah, it's cool. You see everyone who are successful flashing their sales, flashing their dollars, but at the end of the day, it is a passion project. It's all about you getting your brand's message out there. Reason number 4, you try to do everything. Now, there's nothing wrong with learning how to do everything, but in the beginning, especially if you have a 9 to 5 and you're working on this on the side, if you're going to school, you're working on this on the side, it's going to be tough to be able to do everything with that small amount of extra time that you may have. When you're trying to do everything, there's a lot to do. You got to design, you got to print, you got to fulfill, you got to create content, you got to focus on the marketing, you got to focus on the back end. There's so much to it. There's certain things that you can eliminate. For example, even design or print, for some of you all who don't really understand Photoshop and Illustrator just yet, there are easier programs to use, but if you're struggling with the learning curve of understanding how to use it, then you may want to go ahead and pay someone up front to get some of these things done while you are learning so that you can get the process going. Same thing when it comes to printing and fulfillment. I know we show a lot of these things on the channel, but it's all about knowing when to actually use it for your business. You may want to outsource to begin with. That way you just have time to focus on selling, right? That way you are actually making sales. Now, at a future date and time, you can focus on printing or even fulfilling yourself, but whenever you are first starting off, that's a whole extra skill and learning curve that you may have to go through, and it's going to hold you back a lot because you got your head in so many different places. It may even hinder you from even starting. Reason number 5. Now, I told you guys to stick around for this because this is going to be the number one thing that's going to push your brand forward, and it's probably holding you back just a little bit. It's the fact that you don't believe. At one point, you probably did believe in yourself. You did believe in your brand, but then you put your all into it. You got a design up, you got a product up, you got it printed, and you didn't see any type of traction whatsoever. This right here is the moment of where you are being tested and how bad you want to look at the data of what you did and see if you can go back and fix it. Now you got your products. You got to get it moving. You got to go see what was wrong with your product. You got to see what was wrong with your design, what was wrong with your brand message, what's wrong with your website, and you got to go back and fix all of those little things, no matter how hard you already went to get it going. It's really easy to start. It may be hard to keep going, but let me tell you one thing, it's even easier to give up. And if this game was easy, then everyone would be doing it. And as you can see, everyone is trying to start to do it, but they're struggling to keep it going. And that's what's gonna make you different. It's really easy to hype yourself up. You get online and you see people making X amount of dollars in a day and you see their brand taking off and going crazy, but it's even easier to go online and say, you know what, that's not real, that's not true. Once you start saying those things, you kind of have a piece of yourself that you believe that you can't do it for yourself. And I can tell you one thing, I know the numbers I've done and I've met a lot of brands along the way, and you know, I've seen the receipts. The thing is, this always relates back to my favorite quote, which is going to be, your perception is your projection. Whatever you believe is what you will receive. Once you understand that, you will stop giving up on yourself. The name of the game is always going to be perseverance. Everyone has a different number. You might have created the product once and then you failed. Now you got to go create a whole different design, look at your data, make a different design. And on your second set, you might have failed again. Your third one, you might have failed. But everyone has a different number. Some people might have success on their first launch of their first designs. Your number might be 100. Goal is to have a better brand than you had yesterday. Think of a brand like Nike. A lot of people think this is the best brand in the world. But whenever you sit in the room with the people at Nike, they're just trying to see how they can become better than they were last year. And that should be your goal too. If you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button, comment, like, do what you do. I'll see you next time.